Howdy, with this video I want to go over MLA formatting as it applies to the self-regulated learner essay and go over the schedule real quickly. Doing this video on Tuesday, February 2nd. For Monday, yesterday, you should have turned in your draft to Ms. Shell so she can review it and get it back to you with her feedback. Once you get that draft back from her, you're going to revise it based on her feedback. If you have questions about what she wrote, you're going to ask her. If you have questions about the essay, you're going to ask me. And also going to send you a self-review sheet to complete on your own draft. And then on Monday, the 8th, the self-review is going to be due. The final version of the essay is going to be due. And journals 4 through 6 are going to be due. So we're going to be turning in the final version of the self-regulated learner essay and getting started on the next one, which will be an essay about whatever career path you're headed down there. But really, for Thursday, nothing's actually due. You're kind of getting all the stuff together, working on revising your draft based on all the feedback, and doing what you can to get that in on time on the 8th there. For MLA formatting for the self-regulated learner essay, I want to go to the sample essay that's up there under help resources on the content page. I've got it pulled up in Word so I can work with it a little bit. The trick to MLA formatting is you got to make sure you credit sources when you use them. And in this essay, you're supposed to either use that Carol Dweck video or the self-regulated learning handout that was there for the journal entries. And the way you start to credit your sources and use them properly is to put your sources on a works citus page. And here you see on that sample essay, she has the one for the self-regulated learning handout. This is what it should look like. If you had an author, you'd start with the author's last name, comma, then first name for the works cited entry. And we'll get into more about the various types of entries when we get to the career essay. But just kind of want you to understand kind of the basics. If you had an author's name, the author always gets listed first. Whoever wrote it gets listed first. But there's some tricks to that, which we'll talk about here in a second. If you don't have an author's name, you go with the article title. This is going to be self-regulated learning. That's the name of the handout, so that's what we're going to put there. And it's not out there on the internet. It's not something you found in a book. It's just something that was in D2L. It's a link. You don't really know where I got that from. There's actually some research done quite a few years ago for Northeast State when we did our QEP for our accreditation. But anyway, but you guys still got to tell me where you got it from. The only thing that will change here will be that you are I04. And basically it's the same. I went into D2L. It was in this course. And D2 is the Northeast State's version of D2L there. The same way, the Carol Dweck video is going to be formatted the same way. If we go to the, the journal entries page, that's hard to highlight. That's why I'm kind of pausing there. There's no real author to that video. It's not taking you to YouTube or anything like it's playing within D2L. So we're going to show that on the works citus page. And come back to here. Works citus page entry should be in alphabetical order. So we're going to put the Carol Dweck video first. And just going to copy that there. We're going to put that in quote marks. If there's an argument to be made, it could be in italicized. But actually, it's the version of the video that we're looking at. So we're going to put it in quote marks. Same information. It's opening up in D2L. So you don't have to think about this too much. Just put the class, then D2L, then Northeast State Community College, and a period at the end. So whichever source you're using, that's what it's going to look like on the works citus page. And you want to make sure you have your works citus page correct, because when you go to cite these sources in your essay, you're going to use the first word on your works citus page. So up here in the essay, we see right here, according to one source, self-regulated learning means I'm able to control the learning environment and take charge of my own learning success. But that's actually a summary. That's not a direct quote, so I want to show you how to do a direct quote. Doesn't matter where I put this, really. So we'll just start here. The source continues. Whoops, I can't spell. There we go. And I'm going to put a quote from that source, and I've pulled it up here so I can use it. We'll take this one right here. Copy. I'm going to go In fact, the great thing about modern technology is you can do this copying and pasting. You don't have to type everything. Make sure you go back and correct anything. And we're using that as a direct quote. So we're going to put quote marks around it. We got to show where that quote came from. That's from that self-regulated source. And there we go. Did I copy that right? Let me check. It's hyphenated. Okay. So you want to make sure you quote word for word when you do a direct quote. The summary is in our own words and sentence structure. We'll get into summary and paraphrase more when we get to the career essay. What I'm asking you to do with this one is just a short quote to define self-regulated learning or growth mindset. For the growth mindset, you'll have to go back to the video and watch that and quote directly from the video. But that's what it'll look like. You want to introduce the quote, give the quote. For short quotes, 3 or fewer lines, which is probably all you need for this particular essay. It should be in quote marks. And since it's an article title, it should be in quotation marks in the citation. The citation goes inside parentheses, and the period comes after the citation there. So that's how you put in a short quote. If you're going to get fancy, I guess we'll just continue here. And you're going to quote from somebody who's quoting somebody else or summarizing somebody else. For example, if you wanted this quote right here, you kind of see she's already cited it. She's using APA formatting, by the way. That's why that looks a little different from ours. We'll get it. You'll get an APA when you get into sociology, psychology, maybe speech. But we're going to take that quote and put it in our essay. But we're going to show that the original source got it from another source, which can be kind of fun or a little fancy here. And we're just going to continue this, and then we're going to manipulate it just a little bit. So direct quote, self-regulated learning is a process in which a student is cognitively, motivationally, and behaviorally active. Let me get the formatting right there. There we go. So we put it in quote marks. We want to show this came according, that's my C there. If we want to give these original authors credit, we don't actually technically have to, but it's kind of nice to do that because they did the original work and somebody else is just quoting them. You can do something like this where you introduce, say, according to Zimmerman and Pons, self-regulated learning as a process, blah, blah, blah. But you still need to cite the source that's on your works cited page. And quote marks. I'm going to get rid of that comma there. So here, we kind of see that we got a little fancy with the quote by saying, hey, the source I'm citing actually got this from somewhere else and gave them credit, so I'm going to give them credit too. And that's kind of what you're saying here. So if it's coming just from the body of that self-regulated learner handout, and it's not ascribed to somebody else, it'll look like this. If you want to go ahead and give the original people credit, even though you got it from the self-regulated handout, you can do it like that. But make sure you have that citation there. It's telling me that the source I'm quoting from is coming from this self-regulated learning handout. And basically, when you cite, just want to use the first 2 words within on the works cited page. Kind of depends how long the title is there. But you'll do the same thing for the Carol Dweck video. You'll just cite Carol Dweck. Again, she didn't really create the video. She's just the person who's in the title. So her name will be in quotation marks. But hopefully that helps a little bit to kind of understand what's happening there. It can get a little technical there. We'll learn a little bit more about it within the career essay. But that's the basics. You want to credit sources, and you want to use sources fairly and accurately. That's one thing nice about modern technology. You can just cut and paste and quote directly without even having to think about it too much or worrying about how you're typing or anything like that. But hopefully that kind of makes sense. It kind of gives you 3 different ways to use sources there, right? Just do it in your own words and sentence structure, but you still got to tell us where that information is coming from. Citing from the body of that thing, that source, or citing the source quoting somebody else. So we got 3 things going there. And you just have to do one of those, right? And get that somewhere within your essay from either one of those sources. If you have any questions about it, be sure and let me know. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.